next one, nasal bone. Gee, what do you think that is? What's nasal? The nose. Okay, so that's the bridge of your nose. So in this picture here, it's what color? Kind of pinkish color. Agree? So, yeah, I mean, it's the, right there, the bridge of your nose. What else would you call it, right? So nasal bone. It's two tiny little bones. There's a right and a left, but don't worry about right or left. Does that make sense? Okay, so like I said, this is easy. Okay, then next comes lacrimal bone, number 3, you guys see? And from the nasal, okay, there's a pink nasal bone. Go into the orbit, but I want you to go medial. That is on the middle, toward the middle of the orbit. There's this little red bone. On your model, I think it's white, right? But it's not hard to see. It's this little area right here. And there's a hole, correct? You guys see a hole? So what's a hole? I thought you had
Foramen.
Foramen, right? Foramen. So look at your list. What should I call this hole right here? Lacrimal foramen. Does that make sense? Okay, so lacrimal foramen is the hole in what bone? The lacrimal bone. Okay, so same name, not too hard to remember. Does anyone know what lacrimal means? Tears. Yes. Lacrimal is tears. Okay. So that lacrimal bone, and the marking is what? Lacrimal foramen. Okay, so it is lacrimal foramen. So that's how your tears drain from your eye down to your. What do you guys think? From your eye down to your nose, right? It goes straight down to the nasal cavity. Because of that lacrimal foramen, it allows the tears duct to come down the eye. Okay? All right. Next up, maxilla. That's this yellow bone right here. Okay. So the front of your face, pretty much, is the maxilla. And there's the marking. What's the marking on the maxilla? Infra-orbital foramen. What's a foramen? A hole. Do you see a hole in this yellow bone? Yes, it's right here. Agree? Where is it in relation to the eye?
Inferior.
Inferior. So that's the name.
Inferior.
Look at your list. What's it called?
Infraorbital foramen.
Infra-orbital foramen. Is that pretty logical? Okay, all right. Next, moving on, is the zygomatic bone. And in this picture is this blue bone. That's your cheek, right? Side of your cheek. So all that is zygomatic bone. And it has one marking you have to know. And what's the marking called?
Zygomatic arch.
Well, the whole thing is a zygomatic arch, but the marking on the zygomatic bone is called
The temporal process.
temporal process. Okay, what's a process?
Out.
Anything that
Sticks out.
sticks out, right? Anything that sticks out. Okay, so that's the bone, zygomatic bone, and it's called temporal process. Gee, why do we call it temporal process?
It's near the temple.
Because it's sticking out to the
Temple.
temporal bone. So what color is the temporal bone on this picture? Orange, yes. So therefore, right here, see where it's meeting up to the orange bone? What should we call this area right here? Temporal process. That's the marking, right? Temporal process. Does that make sense? Okay. So right here, temporal process. Last time on Saturday, what was this side here called? This was the zygomatic process. Okay, so you see how they name it? On this side is the zygomatic process of what bone? Of the temporal bone. But on this side is the
Temporal process.
temporal process of the
Zygomatic.
zygomatic bone. Okay, so marking and name of the bone. Does that make sense? You guys understand how they name them? Okay, so the whole thing is a zygomatic arch. Okay. Now I put that in because your textbook has it. It's very commonly used. So the whole thing, both zygomatic arch. So I didn't want you to get confused of what the arch, the whole thing, okay? But on the test, I won't ask you the whole thing. I'll just ask you one side or the other. Agree? Okay, so if I put a sticker here and I say marking, what do you write? Zygomatic process. The same sticker and I ask bone, what do you write?
Temporal
No,
bone.
right here. Temporal bone. Okay. If I put a sticker here and I ask for bone, what do you say?
Temporal process.
The bone is
Oh, zygomatic.
zygomatic bone, but the same sticker and I say marking, what do you write?
Temporal
Temporal
process.
process. Okay, you guys understand the difference? Okay, we're good? Alright, let's move on. Palatine. Palatine bone. Gee, what does that sound like? Palatine.
Palate.
Palate, exactly. Where's the palate?
In the mouth.
The roof of your mouth, right? The roof of your mouth. So here, I'm going to have to find a picture to show you. Show you the bottom. Okay, so turn your skull so you see the bottom.
This guy had great taste.
AliExpress.
Is it Alibaba?
Okay, anyway, if you turn the skull to see the bottom, okay, the skull, there is the screw for the spring to come into your skull, agree?
Yeah.
Okay, the roof of your mouth, that anterior portion is the maxilla. Okay, the roof of your mouth, the anterior portion is what bone? Maxilla. Okay, please don't get this confused. It's a common problem with students. Okay. However, if you look at where the little screw is, there's this little zigzag line, a suture line. Because there's another bone posterior. Okay. In other words, there's a little line right here, about where the screw is. So maxilla is the anterior portion of the roof of your mouth. But posterior, do you guys see the little area here, posterior? Yes? Okay.
I see. It's right there. What's the matter with you? You need to stretch.
There you go.
You're such a baby.
Guys see it? You guys see what I'm talking about? There's a little line going across, right? So posterior to that suture line is where the palatine bone is. Okay. Palatine is in the back. So is palatine pretty small or pretty big?
Small.
Pretty small, right? Not very big compared to the maxilla, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so I usually go by that screw. Usually they put that screw right there between the palatine and the maxilla. Okay? All right. And that's all you have to know. It's just the name of the bone is palatine. Okay. Inferior. Okay, so let's go back inside the nasal cavity. Last time I taught you middle nasal concha, right? You guys remember that from Saturday? What bone was the middle nasal concha? Anyone remember? Middle nasal concha? Look on your list. Ethmoid, yes. So you looking through the nasal cavity, this thing here in blue was we just reviewed this. What was this up here? This was, the green thing was perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone, right? And then to the right and to the left, that's the middle nasal concha. Remember this from last Saturday? Okay. Now, today, we're going down to here, the red part. You guys see that? The red part of the nose? What should we call the red thing? What do you guys think? Inferior what? Nasal concha. Is it a bone or is it a marking? It's a bone. It's a bone, it's not a marking. So on your list, you see how I bolded in bold font, right? So it's not a marking, it's a bone. That's all it is. It's inferior nasal concha. Okay? Alright. Who remembers what I said about superior? Is there a superior? Yeah. What part, where is it? Where's superior? It's gonna be high up, right? So high up that you don't see it. That's why I can't ask you in the test. But it does exist. Okay, that's why there's a superior, there's a middle, and there's an inferior. Okay, so anatomy, every word is there for a reason. Okay, they don't use it unnecessarily. Okay, make sense? Okay, let's move on to mandible. What's mandible? The jaw, right? Mandible. Okay. And the mandible is pretty straightforward. The horizontal portion here, this would be the body. Okay, so that's easy, right? The body's a horizontal portion. What other portion in the mandible is there? The vertical, right? See how it goes up here? So the vertical region is the ramus. Ramus, the vertical region, the horizontal region is body. Okay? All right. Next up is a foramen. Aha. What's a foramen again?
Hole.
A hole. But the word before foramen is what? Mental. Where was mental on day one? Right here. Aha. So do you see a hole right here? Yes? So that hole is mental foramen. Okay? Is that pretty easy? Ah, but there's another hole. What's the other hole? Mandibular foramen. Okay, so you try to find it. You have it in front of you. Try to find where it is. So someone tell me where it is. Once you find it. Describe it.
It's here.
Yeah, okay. So
I'm
is
guessing.
it on the body or the ramus?
Ramus.
It's on the ramus. Okay.
Oh.
Is it on the external lateral side or on the internal medial side? Internal medial side. Does that make sense? So medial, internal. Okay, so look in here. Okay. There you go. Now you see a hole on the ramus?
Oh.
Alright, so what's that hole called? Mandibular foramen. Mandibular foramen.
Hole there.
They're on each side. There's one on each side. See, on the ramus? Yeah. Right. On the ramus. Right. Okay. Alright. We did the next three holes, other cranial foramina on Saturday. Okay, so I'm gonna just bypass all that. And then go to sutures. Okay, sutures. Sutures are where the bones of the skull come together. And so this is easy to see on this view. Right, first of all, we have coronal suture. What is the coronal plane on day one? You guys remember? Coronal plane was this thing, right? Agree? So between what and what bone, or at least what color? Between what color, two colors, you think
Blue and
coronal suture?
green.
Frontal and parietal, exactly. So right here, coronal suture. Right? Makes sense? Because the coronal plane was like that, day one, right? Okay, so that's coronal suture, frontal and parietal. That's one suture. Okay, what's the next on your list? What other suture? Sagittal suture. Now this is easy. What was sagittal plane on day one? Correct. Mid-sagittal, right? So you look at your skull, tell me what bone is the sagittal suture touching? The two parietal bone, right? Yeah. Yeah, the two parietal bone is the sagittal suture. Easy to see? Yes? All right. Squamoso suture. Now this is a little harder. I'll just tell you, is this suture line right here. And so between what and what bone? Parietal and temporal, yes. Right here. So that's squamoso suture. And gee, so far, what bone is being outlined by these sutures? What do you guys think? What bone is being outlined by these sutures?
Temporal.
Well, I couldn't draw the one up here, right? But if I parietal bone is being outlined, isn't it? So take a wild guess. Where's the last suture going to be? In the back. In the back. Yes. And I don't have that picture here, but if you turn your skull to the back, do you see the last suture? Yes or no? Yes. So between what bone? What two bones? Parietal and occipital, yes. That will be the last suture. Okay. So easy?
Sure.
All right, yeah, I know. Saturday was the worst. The rest of the skull is easy. Okay. Also on your list is fontanelle, and this is soft spot, okay? So the layman term is soft spot. I don't want you guys to use that on the test. This is an anatomy class. So fontanelle is the fetal skull, okay? So we do have a little baby model that I could use on the test. So this is the little fetal skull, and at that point, these bones have not fused yet, so we have soft spots. We have soft spots, okay? So from top down, okay, so here's top, well, let's just look at this one. From the top down, there is a soft spot here, and a soft spot here. Gee, look at the name of this soft spot. Posterior, agree? Gee, is that pretty logical? So what do you think this soft spot is?
The frontal.
Anterior, okay? So in your list, I said anterior fontanelle. Okay, by the way, you gotta spell out the whole thing, okay? So it's anterior fontanelle, not just anterior. Does that make sense? Okay. Just like coronal suture, right? There's no such thing, just coronal. Okay, so make sure you write both parts, coronal suture. Anterior fontanelle. What else? What else? How else can I call anterior fontanelle? What's another name?
Frontal.
Yes, frontal fontanelle. Why is it frontal fontanelle?
These are the frontal bone.
Because it's close to the frontal bone, right? Make sense? Okay? All right, so take your pick, either anterior or frontal. The other one, posterior. What else could I call this? Occipital fontanelle. Make sense? Pretty logical? Now, why can't I call it parietal fontanelle?
Too broad.
Because I don't know which fontanelle you're talking about, right? Yeah. See, this is parietal bone. If I call it parietal fontanelle, is it that one or is it this one? Make sense? So it's confusing. So don't call it parietal fontanelle. Okay? Either frontal fontanelle. Back here would be occipital fontanelle. It's a lot clearer. Okay. All right. On the side we have anterolateral. Let's break the word down. What is antero? Anterior. And we're on the side here, aren't we? So this is, another name for this would be anterolateral fontanelle. So what else do we call this fontanelle? Sphenoidal. Aha. Sphenoidal fontanelle. What's sphenoidal referring to? What's sphenoidal referring to? The sphenoid bone, right? So in this picture, what color is the sphenoid bone?
Red.
Yeah, this thing right here. So that's pretty clear, right? Sphenoidal fontanelle, because this bone is the sphenoid bone. Okay? Or you don't like that, you can call it enterolateral. I'll take both. And then the last fontanelle is what? Posterolateral, which is that one. Agree? And this one is kind of funky. It's not named after a bone, but it's just called mastoid fontanelle. What is mastoid referring to? You guys remember this from Saturday? Yes, the mastoid process. Remember that was that thing behind your ear on the temporal bone? Yeah?
So
Okay,
is it under or is that what forms it or?
well, right here is the mastoid process. So right here is the mastoid fontanelle. Okay, so it's very close. That's why it got its name. Mastoid process here. The suture up here used to be mastoid fontanelle. So they tried to name it pretty logically. Okay. That's it for the skull. Okay. Easy part done. Okay, so now I want to go into the neurons, okay? Neurons. Actually, before we do the neuron, let's look at nervous tissue. Histology. So histology, for this week and next week, we're all going to talk about nervous tissue. Okay? Because the skull, the hard thing out here, what's inside the brain. This is what? What is this on outline here? That's, the whole cell is a, the whole cell is a neuron, right? The whole thing's a neuron. And the neuron has many parts. It has, what's this region here called? The cell body. Okay, so where am I? Okay, I want you guys to look at first page where it says nervous tissue. You guys see this? Okay, so this is a picture of nervous tissue. The cell is a neuron. Okay, this octopus-looking thing. And the structure of the cell, hopefully you can see. Okay, please don't get confused. This is not the nucleus. This is a nucleolus. Okay, let me say it again. This dark thing, I know you want to call it nucleus, but it's not. What is it? It's the
Nucleolus.
Nucleolus. Okay, the nucleus is actually much bigger. It's like this whole thing here. That whole thing is the nucleus. And let's see if I can help if I dim the light. That would be easier to see. And let me erase my little picture. You see how there's like a hollow, a lighter region around the nucleolus? That is the nucleus. It's that whole lighter area. Okay, that whole thing is the nucleus. And inside the nucleus is the dark area called the nucleolus. Okay. Alright, so what else is part of the neuron? Well, we also have cell body. Okay, so this whole area is the cell body. And of course, that's where you have cytoplasm. And then everything that sticks out is considered process. Okay, so all of these are processes. Now, the other cells in nervous tissue are these dots. These are neuroglia. Okay. Are they pretty small compared to the neuron?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're kind of, in histology, they're not amazing looking. This is amazing looking because, of course, it's the neuron. But these neuroglia cells are there to help the neuron. Okay? So there are more on YouTube on my channel. And yes, I do want you to take a look at them. Otherwise, don't be surprised to see them on the test, okay? Hint, hint, right? Now, what else? What else can we talk about in terms of nervous tissue? Okay, so let's go here. So we also have models of neurons. And before I go there, I just want you to take a look at here. Oh, that's not very good. Okay. So, neurons, typical picture of neurons, something like this. So here you have the cell body, right? Called soma. Okay, so now I'm moving down to this other part of your list here. Okay, I'm dropping off after histology and going down to neuron. Okay. So around the soma, and what's a soma? A soma is where you have the nucleus, right? That's a soma, or cell body. You have these little things sticking out. All of that are dendrites. Are there many, many dendrites per neuron? Yes. Okay.
The longest one.
Many dendrites in one neuron. That's typical. Okay. And then it comes to soma. And then there's this one long extension, and that's the axon. Okay. So the longest extension is always the axon. Now, on your list, I also want you to know axon hillock. What is that? That is the beginning of the axon. Okay, right here. Leaving the cell body, coming to the axon, that's the axon hillock.
Is it called the axon hillock on both sides or just the side of the nucleus? With the nucleus?
What do you mean both sides?
Because it connects to more of it, right?
You mean over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is the end of the axon.
Okay.
So right here, the beginning of the axon, leaving the cell body, that's the axon hillock. Okay, just right here. Okay. All right. Now, the axon often have this thing called myelination, and that's how they draw it here. And in between the myelination is a little gap. The gap is the node of Ranvier. Okay, that's this here. Yeah. Node of Ranvier. The little gap in between the myelination. So in the picture, it's easy to see. Let's take you to a model. Here we go. I think we have this model. There you go. So, let me pull the screen down. So in this model, instead of making it really long, they chop this with that, okay? So just know that it's one long neuron, but they didn't want to make a long neuron. They disconnected here with here. Does that make sense? Okay. So what is this? This whole thing is called the cell body or soma, right? And so that's the nucleus, and inside the nucleus is that dark thing called the nucleolus. Okay. All these little extensions are dendrites, and many, many dendrites. But only one really long axon, right? And the beginning of the axon is the axon hillock. Okay, axon hillock. Okay? So now let's look at the axon. So remember, it's going to continue here. Okay, it's going to continue here. So this whole thing is the axon coming down. And you see the myelination, right? These are myelination. And there's this little gap in between the myelination, and that's the node of Ranvier. Okay. So that's about it. That's the model that we have. Nothing, like I said, nothing too spectacular. Because the fun's going to begin later on. All right. So any questions there? me see.